Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Anna Hearne. Um, I do represent Hearne Fine Art, a fine art establishment established by my parents 34 years ago, coming up in June. We do specialize in fine art. We represent several emerging and mid-career artists. Of the African diaspora. We are located in the historic Dunbar neighborhood in Little Rock, Arkansas. So if you're ever in the city, the capital city of Little Rock, Arkansas, definitely come by and see us at 1001 Wright Avenue. We are excited to present When We See Us. It is a new show of three emerging talents from the Central Arkansas area, Ebony Blevinsʼ Adaja Cooper, and today our featured artist, Mr. PERRION Hurd.
Hello, how are
Well,
you all?
welcome.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So today I'm going to have a couple of different roles. I am going to ask some questions throughout this presentation, but also we're just going to have, I'll also be the tech person and bringing up some images for you to talk about as well.
Wonderful.
But briefly, I would love for you to just start off with your bio. Just tell us who is PERRION Hurd. PERRION, who is PERRION Hurd?
My name's PERRION Hurd. I was born in Hughes, Arkansas, a little town in between Forest City, Arkansas, and West Memphis, on the way to Memphis in 1972. I was raised in Memphis, Tennessee, and did, the whole go to school, grow up experience in Memphis, Tennessee. So that was basically my young childhood. In my 20s, I had several different opportunities to become and explore several different things. So I settled on wanting to work in the medical field, which didn't pan out exactly the way that I wanted to. But fortunately for me, I had support from some doctors and art instructors and close friends in Memphis at the time who saw that I was pretty good at visual art. So in my mid-20s, I decided to go ahead and make the jump, or to begin the steps to become a fine artist. And here I am. I think I've done it. That's pretty much it. I'm pretty much just a regular guy that draws pictures.
Here's one of the questions I aimed at you earlier. So you went to school, you said you took those conventional steps. Shout out to our shared alma maters, University of Memphis.
Right on.
University of Memphis,
Yes,
go
yes.
Tigers.
Go Tigers.
You said, and you did training for graphic design as well as medical illustration. I know you had some aspirations of going into the medical field, but you say that you're self-taught, but you did have that formal education. Tell me why you feel like you're self-taught.
Well, I wasn't training. At the time when I was in the program in college, there were several programs that I was involved in. You could call one of them a fellowship to continue my studies on the path to become a pathologist. But I definitely got obsessed with the anatomy of human anatomy. And I had done my studies to teach myself how to draw by hand. So I've only had, aside from high school art classes and craft classes, I've only had 3 college courses that taught me the basics of drawing. So that was beginning drawing, intro to painting, and figure studies. By me wanting to become a designer and a graphic designer, of course, when you work in a lab setting, you have manuals, human anatomy manuals and books around you all the time. And because you have to, the job that I had at the time required us to take notes on doctor's forms and autopsy forms. So I had taken it upon myself to try to merge it all together and try to, at least if I was going to become a graphic designer or an illustrator or a medical illustrator, I needed to, of course, practice my hand at looking at something and drawing it. So unfortunately, during that time, I want to say about a year and a half, almost 2 years into my studies, the program ended for medical illustration. So there I was with just like art classes, I was like, all right, well, I bought all these art supplies and all these anatomy books to study. And I still remember, my training and the discipline that I put myself in. So I started to teach myself how to draw all sorts of different things and not just human anatomy. So fine art paintings, figurative fine art paintings. It just went right. That program didn't work, but this one did work. So I started to build up on creating a really good understanding and a good understanding of fine art, specifically Black fine art, and just teaching myself how to become who I am and do what I do today.
As a follow-up, do you feel like you'll ever go back into the formal academic setting as a student or even as a teacher? Would you like to teach and, inspire and inform the next generation of artists?
As a matter of fact, yes, I would love to teach. But first, and this is a promise that I've made to myself and my family, my mom, my wife, and my children. Now that I know what I'm doing, I am going to go back to school and finish my degree, my formal degree in the arts, and hopefully continue to build on that. So that's part of what you can expect from me in the upcoming future.
Okay, awesome. I always love a learner because if you're not learning, you're not alive.
That's right. That's right.
So just thinking about the Central Arkansas community in the area, can you tell me what brought you to Little Rock and what did you find as far as an art scene when you got here?
So I moved to Northwest Arkansas in officially moved to Northwest Arkansas in 2004-ish, 2005-ish. And I had several different jobs. The plan was to go there. I left Memphis just to seek better opportunities for myself so that I could, support my family and do what needed to be done as a parent and take care of that business. So I went up there to Northwest Arkansas. The plan was to go work at Walmart in some capacity, figure out where my niche was and start to build that whole thing up. Art was not on the radar for me at the time. So I took several different jobs. I did have the opportunity to work at a temp service with Walmart. So that pretty much was kind of my foot in the door in my experience working there. But as I was working there and I had moved all my stuff up there, I started I'm about to build a whole new life here. And I just started to like pull out drawings, and lots of different art that I had done in Memphis, Tennessee, that some were completed and some weren't completed. So I moved up, so I started finding all my art again, and I just caught the bug to create art all over again. And I went to an art supply store with who was being run by a close friend of mine. Her name is Cindy. And my friend Cindy was the owner operator, and me becoming a customer turned into becoming a part-time worker, turned into becoming the gallery manager / instructor for a few art classes. And that was a fantastic experience. So then my mind shifted to, wait a minute, I don't think I want to do the corporate thing. I'm really getting good at painting and creating. So let me focus on that. And right when I made that life decision, 2008, economy tanked, gallery shut down, everybody's, adjusting to that. So from 2009 to 2010 was pretty rough. I took other part-time jobs just to, keep it up together and keep those responsibilities going. And finally, in 2011, my wife and I made the decision to move to Little Rock. The reason why we moved to Little Rock is because her family members are mostly in Northwest Arkansas. My family members are in Memphis, Tennessee. So we're close enough in case we need to get there, but far enough to have, our own life going on. So in around from 2011 until now, I was mostly just trying to learn about this, what's going on in Little Rock. And so here I am, I'm in a new place. I need to study the culture, the people, because of course, not being raised here, all you hear about is what you're taught on, television about, the culture here and everything. And I have found that this Little Rock culture and the history of the communities here in Little Rock are extremely strong and powerful, quite similar to a lot how the neighborhood and the communities in Memphis were. So it's like I'm home, home, and being Arkansas born. It just makes sense to be here. I love it. So I'm still learning about lots of different aspects to being here in Central Arkansas, Little Rock, specifically, that it just every day I didn't know that. I wasn't taught that. So I'm having to learn that this neighborhood is historic. That neighborhood is historic, and it's just fantastic.
Definitely. I was just about to ask, has that strong history of the Black community informed any of your work? How has that influenced any of your work and any of your techniques, the history and culture of Little Rock and the Black community in Little Rock?
So, what I have, yes, to answer your question, yes, it being here since 2011 has definitely completely changed and transformed the way that I see not only myself and the community here. It definitely, there's a sense of purpose here that I have. So from observing and studying everything that's going on, and slowly becoming not just someone who just lives here, but a part of the community. It's not the jazzy downtown thing that I had going on in Memphis. So, but that's still in me and with me because there's a great music scene here. And it's not the quiet suburban / rural experience of living in Northwest Arkansas either. There's a perfect balance of urban and suburban. And what I'm doing, what I hope to do with my work is to like merge those two. For instance, I still have some of my music pieces that I work on, but then also there are some historical pieces that are planned for me to work on in the future that I look forward to working on. And of course, a resource like Hearne Fine Art Gallery and Pyramid Bookstore and the Central Library Arkansas system, those resources, those are the places I go to when I need to study, the library, the bookstore. And I'm grateful to be able to finally get a chance to plug in into the community.
Definitely. And Hearne Fine Art definitely has a commitment to our local community and to our host community. Let's talk about emerging Arkansas artists when we see us. This is a show that you kind of co-curated. You brought in Ebony and Adaja. Talk about how that came to be, why this show is so important.
Right. In the when we see us, the concept of when we see us, an emerging artist show, what I would like very much for people to take away from this is the different ways of Black people seeing themselves and each other, and the different ways that we relate to each other, but that the narrative of being Black, it's pretty much the same. So with we're telling the same story about what it is to be Black, but we're looking at it through different windows and we're communicating it in different ways. For Ebony's work, for instance, what I take from Ebony's work is the strong, powerful images that she actually went out to these protests in 2020, and put herself on the line as a photojournalist to take those shots. Photographers freeze time when they take shots, when they shoot pictures, and they preserve moments in time as a historical record for us to see and for us to learn from. So what she has done is absolutely incredible, and I am totally loving those works. Adaja's work, Adaja has a style to me, and what I take from Adaja's work is showing, especially with her card series that she has, she's showing the similarities and juxtapositions.
All right, now let's talk about your work. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit more toward the biography a little bit. You've had a few transitions when it comes to your mediums and what you want to do. You transition from painting and illustration now to printmaking. Tell me about those transitions and what has been your favorite medium thus far. Did we lose them? Uh-oh. Hello? We may have lost our featured artist today because of the internet. Is he there? Okay, there he is. Hello? Now you're muted. Okay.
I'm back.
Okay. Did you hear my question?
You got me?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I'm sorry, y'all. This is my fourth Zoom call. So,
right.
you know, I'm going to try not to act old and get with these technological times.
Okay. We just have a minor technical blip. You want me to repeat the question?
No. I can go right ahead. The transitions that I've gone through and continue to go through with the works, at least to the best of my ability, my go-to first love is just drawing. I love a good sketchbook. I love to sit and draw like all day long. Like before this call, I was working on one of the smaller scratchboard pieces that I have here that I generally just put on my studio wall behind me just to mull over in the future. And go from there. And of course, illustration, you do line art, you do ink drawings, you do lots of different mixed media techniques. So that's my jam. That's my daily jam. Then I try to do a few things with, let's say I create an image. I try to just a drawing. So I will try to make a painting of it with acrylic painting specifically. I have not yet mastered oil. I just haven't put the time in for oil yet. And then from there, from a painting, I will try to carve out a linoleum block and carve a block out so that I can use it in my printmaking practice. So definitely visual art for sure, but I try to stay within those three techniques of daily illustration, drawing, just creating new images, and then of course paintings, fine art paintings, and then of course fine art printmaking. So that's what I'm trying to flow with there.
All right. Okay. So back to when we see us in this particular show, I'm gonna bring the work back up on the screen. Let's talk about the way that you portray your subjects. I see that there is a sort of iconoclastic theme, going back to, Greek Orthodox, Roman Christianity, back to my art history books and the stained glass windows. Is this your faith and spirituality manifesting through your art, or in studying and looking at artists like Kehinde Wiley, who have elevated their subjects by, putting them in this type of atmosphere and theme, or is it a little bit of both? Can you talk about that?
It's definitely a little bit of both. With the images that I have done with When We See Us, that I've created for When We See Us, My focus is, my influences are definitely the ancient arts, let's say relief sculptures and Egyptian hieroglyphs, mythologies from different cultures, and different cultures, the way that they do their art, the art that lasts. We're talking about the pyramids. We're talking about Latin American carvings and sculptures. We're talking about Byzantine tile art that is that has been that is still out there and still prominent. We're also talking about African shapes and forms as in African languages. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Nzibidi is something that I'm studying. I'm studying the symbols and the signs in that cultural in that culture, and trying to incorporate some of those things. As far as my spirituality is concerned, yes, yes, I am definitely pouring out my personal spirituality in these pieces, and trying to express just, internal feelings that I have as an artist, not just an artist, but as a man that was raised in what I can only describe as a mostly matriarchal society. You know, for the most part, the woman is the first teacher. That's the first thing, a baby sees. The light and mama, so I'm definitely trying to uplift the images of the Black woman through these particular works. And then there's also something that I would like for everyone to know about these pieces that I've been producing with over the past maybe 5 years or so, is that I am not just creating them as individual pieces, they are part of a story. So if you take one piece, because I create in series, if you take one piece and line them up side by side, then there is a connecting through line with most of them. Like the horizon is around the shoulders. That's a connecting line. The lines are, around the circles, they are literally one piece if you take them all together and slide them all together. But the idea is to create pieces that stand out on their own as one piece. So my personal reason for doing this is I hope to be able to in somehow contribute to, and or not necessarily create, but to add to a grander mythology. There's a mythology that I've had in my head for the longest time, for roughly 20 years. It's about the solar deity, the sun and the moon. The sun in my personal mythology is a life-giving woman, life-giving female solar deity. And the images, the radiant triangular imagery and the waves coming out of these and that are etched into the gold themselves, that's power, that's divinity, that's the symbology of that. The moon, I also have some that I work with, some of the images I work with were the moon in the image. And from my space, from seeing art and ancient art in their cultures, the moon weighs heavy in a lot of the cultures around the globe. The Islamic calendar is a lunar calendar. The Chinese calendar is a lunar calendar. Various cultures have used the sun and the moon as navigational tools to be able to cross vast distances. So I'm working on something that trying to tell a story about a group of women who are leaders in their communities, who are navigating through time and space to uplift their people. There's kind of a Dune thing that I'm doing, where the sisterhood that created the super bee. But I can't tell you everything that I'm working on because I definitely don't want it to be Dune. But Black Afrofuturism, Black sci-fi, that's where I'm at right now with these pieces. And at least that's what I am taking away from creating these pieces in black and gold, is to show the connectivity, that they're unified, but they're also individual pieces themselves. They stand off, but they're all telling a consistent story with a through line and a through story. So yes, that's pretty much it on that for now.
I love these pieces.
Thank you.
So your subjects, are these real people? Are these people that you
Uh,
know? Are these people from your imagination, from your dreams?
well, a little bit of I don't. The images that I have here for this show are people that I do not personally know. There are the faces of the models themselves are images that you just see on the internet. So let's say one day I was how what had happened was how I had created these images, let's say. What started me creating these images is in black and gold, in this specific set of images is, you know, as we discussed earlier, I'm an older guy and, you know, I'm just trying to learn how to use the internet and I'm struggling with that, you know, digital analog thing. But hopefully I'm working it out. So in my scrollings on social media and everything, and in my studies of, you know, how to draw skin tones, how to draw skin tone, how to draw people's you know, body and anatomy. I needed a subject. So, and in line with the storytelling that I have to ultimately one day have a cohesive story together, I decided to make Black women be my subject for these pieces, and Black culture, the subject of my pieces. If you see back here behind me, there's an enlarged piece of one of the smaller scratch boards that I've done. So no, they're not people that I know. And with that in mind, this will be the last of these types of works, mainly because I got a camera now, and I know people, and I got people, and I want to draw again from real life, you know. So So my process with creating those pieces is I'll see a picture online, I'll sketch it out on that particular medium, and maybe 2 or 3 of them out at the same time. And then I'll start running my mythological story about this that I'm creating in my head, and I'll go off of that. So, so yes, these are the last of the Black and Gold series for a while, unless anyone wants to commission that. I won't be producing these anytime in the near future.
Have you had any requests to scale these up? The Black
Yes.
and Gold series. It's also a leeway into my questions about murals, but please, what have been your requests to scale these up?
Well, the request to scale them up come from the technique, the way that I work. So again, you know, if you take one image, you know, they all tie into each other. Now these are just doodles. These are not, and I don't think that they show well because of the reflection, but these are just doodles. These are just like background drawings for, you know, the process that I usually have. And scaling them up, people respond to different size art. And for me, you know, with my murals, of course, I've had to go larger and think in larger scale. With this particular material, with the Black and Gold material, it is difficult to find the quality, the same quality material that I've used for these pieces in particular at a larger scale. And I have reverse engineered what the material is made out of. And I'm confident that in the future, I can produce it on my own, the actual material itself, because it has to be at least up to par with this. So I've tried several different techniques. Artists, not just art, it's science and a little bit of alchemy. You know, you're in the studio trying to basically figure out what works with what. So yes, this is the time to go bigger, much bigger. Yes.
So, in turning toward your murals, I know that a lot of murals start off as studies. Have you ever wanted to go backwards? You know, make a mural available as a personal work? Or, I mean, you kind of talked about scaling these personal pieces up, but have any of your murals you ever felt like you wanted to reclaim them back to the canvas or back to, you know, human size?
Yes, I actually, part of my process in creating my murals is, of course, preserving the initial concept, the go-to concept. So I'll make sure that I have backup copies of that. And I don't really. I've tried creating those large-scale murals in smaller pieces the exact same way. But what usually happens is I'm trying to recreate an older piece, an entirely new, different piece comes out. So take, for instance, this print that I have here. Let me be careful. This print that I have here in the studio. This is one of the banners at Mosaic Templars. It's entitled Love. Now, I've been asked to produce this piece several times, but you know, on canvas, but I think that I think what I want to do is keep moving forward. And then there's another issue with prints, quality of the prints, quality of the reproductions and things like that. So those are factors that I have to, work with and think about. But if you're out there and you want me to commission something for you, I will not only reproduce something, I'd like to make it better, because when I'm working on a piece, that piece. And when I'm done with that piece, that's done. Now I can pull elements from each different style that I'm working with and put it together and mix up something new, but I'm trying to keep a consistent visual language so that when people see my pieces, they recognize that it's mine. And don't do too much, but don't do too little. So yes, I can put it back on as a fact. There are other pieces in studio that were once mural concepts that I am putting on canvas. I can't show you right now because they're in the middle of the process.
All right. So this is a portion of the program where it shifts away from my questions. But we do have a question in the chat that I'm going to build on. Are there any artists that have been role models for you? And can you tell me about any contemporaries or emerging artists that you're excited about? So your role models and who you're excited about now.
Okay. My role models on my artistic journey, from studying art independently, have crossed the gamut. The majority of my my illustrative art is medieval printmaking. So when I'm studying printmaking, I am all about that medieval printmaking thing. And there's just those wood blocks, they can't be, I'm sorry, they're awesome. When I'm studying Black art and Black paintings, the Harlem Renaissance artists they're just Aaron Douglas specifically is the man. He's the OG. And I just love the way that his works have they're simplistic in design. It looks simple, but it's actually extremely intricate and complicated. Specifically those concentric circles that you see around the points of where he wants you to look. He wants you to look at this circle, which is a circle with the figure. Then there's a circle around him in multiple different colors, and then a line going through that. So Aaron Douglas is the man, or to me, my hero. And of course, there's Basquiat, for his colors and putting in his expression and his words, and the way that he did what he did was fantastic. Just a completely new way of seeing. And then of course we can go back to Picasso, all of the Modigliani, all of the people that they say, that they tell you, these are those artists and everything. But they're just way too many. I'm looking at David Driscoll's work right now because I'm working on some printmaking technique that will involve more color. and a lot more layers in my work. My work is usually generally flat with few strokes and everything. And I guess that's from me studying, posters and printmaking and things. It's just a side effect of me drawing. I like nice, clean lines. And pretty much any artist whose work is like, boom, I get it. It's right there, Diego Rivera, his murals, huge influence on me. And a lot of the Mexican artists, huge influences on me. Mexican printmaking, Gutenberg, the press. I could go on and on about all of my influences, my older influences, because there's just so many. The contemporary artists who I'm looking at right now, and whose work I am very interested in these days is, of course, Delita Martin. Her printmaking, what she's doing is just phenomenal. Latoya Hobbs and Ariston Jacks, their work on the woodcut / printmaking side of things, just phenomenal, especially just the scale that these artists have produced in. It's mind blowing. It's just utterly mind blowing. And Kehinde Wiley, Amy Sherrill, who else? Oh goodness, there's so many artists. I can't tell you. I could go down the list, but there's short form everybody. I'm looking at everybody. I'm looking at what everybody's doing, and it's all amazing, and I'm trying to, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, with the, I think I have a really good visual eye of what I want to do with my work, but I can't stop studying other artists. It's just, I'm too deep in it now.
Let's talk. I know you said you're going away after the Black and Gold series, but can you talk about, what is scratch paper? Does it produce a certain type of texture? How did you arrive to that? And how long does it take you to complete one of these scratch paper etchings? Because you do a lot of detail as well. So what is how long does that take? Is that one sitting? Do you come back to it? What is the process like? Tell us more about the technique in your medium.
All right. So I have here what is in my hand. I have a scratch board, and a scratch board is a masonite board with kaolin clay with India ink on top of it, and it's like literally this thin. And these are the ampersand brand scratch boards. Scratch paper is a paper which is essentially a poster board or a strong backing board, poster board, with a laminate on the bottom of it. Now, it could be a clear laminate, which would produce which would mimic the white kaolin clay underneath. It could be gold laminate, or it could be a silver or multicolor laminate or something underneath. And basically what it is a scratch paper is a you want to find the ones with the highest quality, and the highest quality gloss, at least for me, the highest quality gloss and the best ink, so that they're strong and they can stand up to being scratched into. As far as how long it takes me to produce a piece in this particular medium, it depends on mostly two factors. It depends on where I know I'm going with producing these works. And it also depends on like how bad I want that piece to come out. So I can like literally sit for hours working on one piece. So can I do it in one sitting? Yes, I can. Will it be awesome in one sitting? Probably not. So then I have to put this down, right? And then go work on something else just to clear my mind from that piece, especially when it starts getting like tense and tight, producing that piece. I just put it down because that's not the energy I want to put into my work. I actually want to feel happy working on it too. So I have 6 pieces laid out right now in the final black and gold, which will round that up to 30 pieces. And they're all laid out at my home studio, and they're all laid out back to back. If I want, and I have to, how bad I want it, I want all of those pieces done this week with high quality. So in order for me to do that work, I have to continue to work on them for hours at a time, but jumping from piece to the other piece so that they're consistent, they line up with each other, but they're different because I tend to create in working in series. So let's say I pick a theme of these black and white ones here, and I will work on all 5 of them at the same time, jumping in between pieces so that I'm not getting burned out on one piece, and so that the flow is consistent and that these images look kind of the same. These are the smaller black and white scratch boards. And in this case of this particular image, starting right here with this jazz ensemble, it's like literally one long piece. So it's just to answer your question, I just go into a hypnosis where nothing else exists except creating the work, and that's how I operate. I just focus and start doing what I'm doing because it's my work.
Thank you. Congratulations on your recent accolades with the 2022 Arkansas Governor's Art Awards. At what point did you feel like, yes, I can be a full-time professional artist? Like, what was it? Some sort of recognition? Was it a sale? What was it that point where, because you had a very unconventional but conventional way of arriving to professional artistry. What was that point where you said, I can do this?
That first sale, I want to say that first sale that paid my bills is the beginning, because I wasn't planning on becoming a fine artist. I was planning on being a medical illustrator, drawing a couple of books, maybe working as a pathologist. So that was my focus. That's what I wanted. I knew that's what it was going to be. And then life changed. Fortunately, while I was there in the medical field, I had an opportunity to work for, again, some great doctors and some great people, support staff, who were extremely supportive of me creating artwork. So what did it for me was definitely that first sale, but what has consistently done it for me is where I decided that I'm just going to go for it and just go for this thing. I want to say in 2018, well, before 2018, I want to say 2014 is when I started to plan to make the jump. So I worked my jobs just like everybody else, and I saved my money and paid my bills just like everybody else, and started buying a lot of art supplies for myself. You know, what a pen here, tube of paint there, and just putting them in my box for my future box, investing in myself. I started to invest in the future that I wanted to have for myself as an artist, because I just knew I was going to do it. It just had to become I'm doing this now, and this is all I'm going to do. It had to turn into that. So 2014, 2016, bumpy roads, few bumpy roads, some hits, some misses. But as people started to collect, you know, my work, and as you started getting, you know, a bit of recognition, people start recognizing, oh, I know that guy, he did that. Or I saw him, you know, drawing this exact picture at a Starbucks one day or something like that. That stuff just starts to build up and snowball into, it boosts your confidence. It makes you, well, yeah, I can do this. This person, why not? You know, why not go ahead and take the jump? So in 2018, I took the leap. I've not I've been a full-time self-employed artist since 2018. And it just keeps going up, because it just keeps going up, you know, because this is my job. This is what I do. This is what I put my energy into. So naturally, you plant that seed and you just let it grow. But you keep, you know, planting seeds and adding all that stuff together. The Governor's Award came out of the blue. I didn't get the news until I got the news. I view myself very much as a working man, as just still a working man, but a working artist. So I'm grateful for that Governor's Award. Did not see it coming, and it's pretty cool. That's all I got to say about that.
Definitely. And I can't follow that with anything but congratulations.
Thank you.
I do want to give you an opportunity to give your commercial about the show
Okay.
and your work. Where can we find emerging Arkansas artists when we see us in PERRION HURD's work? I'm gonna put up a slide for you, but you go ahead and start the commercial.
All right then. Hello, my name is PERRION HURD, and my show, the show that I have works in, When We See Us, is currently being showed at Hearne Fine Art Gallery in Little Rock, Arkansas. The show is basically three different ways of three different contemporary artists viewing Black life and the Black experiences across the diaspora. It is our goal that you will have an opportunity to visit the show in person, if you can. please visit Hearne Fine Art at 101 Wright Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas. These works are for you all to enjoy. If you can't visit the actual space, then the show is on the website of Hearne Fine Art Gallery. And Saturdays from 12 till 2/12 till 4, I plan to be in the gallery during the entire show run, so that if you want to meet and chat and conversate about the actual show itself, it'd be an honor if you all visited and came through, and we would really look forward to that. You can see Ebony Blevins's work, Adaja Cooper's work, and of course my work. So photography, cyanotype, painting, and my scratch paper etchings. And we hope to see you then.
Also would like to welcome you to next Sunday's Artist Talk. Miss Adaja Cooper, who is a student at Hendrix currently, and featured in the show, will be discussing her work and her creative process. So we definitely welcome you all. So come back, join us Sundays, 3 o'clock here on Zoom, same link. Without further ado, thank you so much, PERRION, for joining us, and thank you to our studio audience for joining us, and everybody out there on Facebook land. Everyone have a great afternoon.
Thank you all. Appreciate you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.